Very good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Bedminster Township Committee, our regularly scheduled meeting for July 18th, 2016. We have a quorum tonight. Mr. Olson is absent and excused. Can we get the Open Public Meetings Act?
Adequate notice of this meeting of the Township Committee was sent to the Courier News in Somerville, to the Bernardsville News in Bernardsville, to all subscribers, and also posted here at Township Municipal Building as of January 14th, 2016.
We all join in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have 3 sets of meeting minutes to review and approve. The June 20th regular meeting, July 5th agenda session, and the July 5th executive session. Are there any comments or questions on any of those? If not, take a motion.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Permits and raffles, we have several tonight. A social affair permit for the Sean O'Hara Foundation. That is September 6, 2016, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., the Hamilton Farm Golf Club. A social affair permit for Mainstream, Inc. That's on October 29, 2016, 6:30 to 11 p.m., Hamilton Farm Golf Club. A raffle license for the Center for Great Expectations on October 21st, 2016, 6 to 11 p.m., Fiddler's Elbow Country Club. That is an on-premise raffle. And Bike MS Ride, that is permission to ride through Bedminster via Somerville Road on one day of the trip, and that will be September 17th, 2016. Any comments or questions on any of those? If not, I'll take a motion.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. I see a lot of folks here that are dressed similarly or have nice big smiles on their face for what is a great occasion. I'm going to come up from behind the podium. I'd like to bring up Chief Rock and Mr. Beltry. It is one of the more pleasurable thing, and any member of the family, Jeff, that you want to, this is one of the better things that we get to do as a township committee, which is bring on board not just a new employee, but a new police officer.
Someone needs to hold Bible for him.
And it is especially important these days with everything you read about in the news. It's a big responsibility. And there's great expectations by the citizens in town, and we're very fortunate. We have a very professionally run department with outstanding leadership and outstanding members here. So you're joining a pretty good group, and the expectations are tremendous. But you come well regarded. So without further ado, you'll put in the Bible another, and please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jeffrey Beltry,
Solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of New Jersey.
and the state of New Jersey.
I will bear true faith
And I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
governments
and to the governments
established
established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people.
and that I will faithfully,
And that I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly
impartially, and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office of police officer
of the office of police officer
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
and that I will use my office
And that I will not use my office
to grant preferential treatment
to grant preferential treatment
nor seek personal gain,
nor seek personal gain,
favor, or advantage
favor, or advantage
not available to the general public.
not available to the general public.
So help me God.
Oh my God.
Congratulations. And welcome aboard. Congratulations. Chief? Oh.
That's fair, kidding.
Just do it.
Got it.
Good close up.
Mayor, we have the press, so maybe we could
Oh.
get a picture.
All right. Chief, get on in here.
I forgot about the 202 detour, so. You have to read the paper. That's right, yes. Take a couple extra just to.
Okay. We'll get some here with the chief.
And then maybe one more.
All right.
Okay. Great, thank you very much.
Get the chief in there. Get the chief. Hey, get one of the chief. Ours, Baker.
It's good to see somebody new come into the building. Obviously, this is under my leadership, the first person that we're able to hire. It brings a new light, enthusiasm, and you've had a good home, and your whole family is always welcome, at Bedminster anytime. And I'd also like to thank the Township Committee for allowing us to keep our manpower up to 16. So, you like my legacy.
Now, you can stay for the rest of the meeting,
Yeah,
but if you would take a suggestion or a recommendation,
we've got very important stuff to talk about. Salaries for seasonal employees. We have county tax board stuff. Oh, well. All right. Uh-oh.
maybe we need a detective.
All right. Next on the agenda is public comments, and every meeting, we do this twice. There's a podium and a microphone up there, and we invite any member of the public that has anything they wish to come and say, come to that microphone, say your name, your street address,
You heard it.
and
0 Old Dutch Road, Bedminster. And the reason I'm here is I was elected by the rest of my neighborhood, which is the Old Dutch Road, Old Schoolhouse, Deer Haven, regarding the road that's being paved and redone. Everything's been going great. I like the way it is, but we have some concerns regarding the safety and the way people have been speeding down the road. I mean, people going 40, 50, 60 miles an hour is not uncommon. I guess the concern that we all have is that we all have kids that get off at the bus on the corners and need to walk on the street back to home. So I guess the request here is, my wife had put together a petition for all the neighbors that signed, is if there was a way to put speed bumps or speed humps or whatever they're called now, strategically within the road there, to help keep the traffic speed down to a minimum. So on that note, I don't know what I do with these. Exhibit A.
Mr. Chair, can you just, I don't know if you caught the beginning of that.
I'm sorry.
But there's a concern with regard to speed.
Yeah, I mean, Old Dutch Road has been, it's been kind of deteriorating for the years, and people have been speeding. I mean, it is a hill road, and it is a cut through. I don't want to make any, they'd say private road or anything like that. I get that, right? I get that it's cut through. I'm concerned because, the people that are going down the road and had potholes like crazy, we're still going 50, 60 miles an hour down the hill because, I mean, it is a hill, and we're concerned now that it's going to be paved and nice and wide, and we're just, we're really concerned. A lot of our kids get off the school bus and have to walk up the roads, or just, it's not that wide, let me put it that way. It's not, where people, so we just have concerns since the road's going to be paved and clear. People are just going to go crazy over it. So we signed a petition, or put together.
May I ask, is it like 24 hours a day? Is it morning rush, evening rush, if traffic's backed up on 206?
The traffic is mostly heavy during, obviously, the rush hour in the morning, especially in the afternoon, but probably a steady traffic comes through from about, I'd say anywhere from 3:30 in the afternoon to about 9:30 at night. But I mean, you get people who come down it.
Understood.
So that's, that's where it comes. Like I said, I don't want to make any, that this is a private road, and I get that it's a cut-through road. So we just want to, we want our neighborhood, we would like to see some measures put in there to keep the traffic speed down to.
Well, what I do offer, going forward is once the construction is complete and the stop sign or the speed limit signs are available, we have speed limit monitoring signs that'll say your speed to light up when you go over. And with that, we'll get a count and see what exactly the speeds are.
Sure.
And then we'll deploy our resources when possible and feasible to get out there. The thing we have to consider is that with traffic radar, we're limited because we have to be parallel to the roadway. So there really is no place, you see the police cars tucked in, facing traffic. So it's going to be a matter of finding a strategic area and or like deploying 2 officers to go out there and regulate it. But we will do our best.
It's just more in the sense of our neighborhood sentiment. And,
Understood.
Since they were constructing the road now and has everything torn up, it would probably make sense if that was something that you could do, that you take a look at it and see if it's something that would be feasible.
Absolutely.
Well, it's been a particular challenge because the construction is ongoing right now, correct? Well, it's ongoing right now because the state has put a hold on all the projects. So that's been difficult. We've had some tremendous rainstorms of recent, the summer thunderstorms, so that's washed some stuff out. But I know just a couple of years ago when the road I live on was repaved, I remember my wife was quite vocal in, they're going to speed, but, we do have to every, 10 or 15 years or every 20 years, we do have to get in there and do a good repaving, otherwise it will come in tremendous disrepair. But your concerns are, the chief's listening, and we understand.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
But the specific request is for physical improvements, and, I live 1 block to the south, so I certainly know Old Dutch, and that is a narrow and oftentimes blind road. Danger is really just evident to anyone who is in the neighborhood. John, there are limitations on physical improvements, whether it's the bumps or temporary.
I don't know
Whatever
what is allowed, what's not allowed. I've got to remember this is a DOT project. I don't know if any of those speed calming devices are and can be approved by the DOT. I don't know if that's something that can be done, or is the township engineer can take a look at it and make the determination whether something could happen, could not happen.
I remember a discussion I had with township engineer on a different road in a different part of town, but with a similar discussion. And he made mention, and this is unscientific because it's a different road, a different location, but he suggested that not speed bumps were less effective than, big potted plants, the big, that, in other words, to have to go around something rather than the bumps, because sometimes people will just hit those real hard. I don't know why I wouldn't, but and those could be temporary, because you could put them in and see if they work, and then you could take them out if they don't work, the big, so I don't know, but I something that's
Again,
we're listening to.
My neighbors, their request was just,
Mhm.
hey, just take a look at it.
Yeah.
We'd love to see something to curb some of that.
Mayor, when Hill Drive, which of course is a private road, but still when they came to the township asking about, and sit down with the engineer about what they could possibly do, because it's a cut through, and they're concerned about speed there. And the engineer recommended, I guess, in the newest technology is a type of, I guess you would say, cut out pavement.
Kind of like we have on Somerville Road right now.
Like a rumble.
Under the yellow line.
Basically, will just vibrate the car a little bit, and it's just a reminder to slow down, and you put them strategically. But the slope of the road and the sight distance, that's all going to be determining factor as to what can go there and where it can go, if it can go. But I tell you that in some places in the hills where they utilize the speed monitors and then follow up with a police presence, that has been pretty effective in curtailing the speed.
Sure. Like I said, we're,
Yeah.
I think at the end, it's not about what gets done, it's like how, just as long as, we
Something gets done.
Right.
figure something out that helps us with.
And let's face facts, this is going to get worse.
Mhm.
This is not going
When
to
the
get
bridge goes out.
When the 202 bridge over the Raritan, over the North Branch, is replaced, the cut through on Old Dutch is going to below control. And so if you're seeing those situations now, we're going to see a lot more of those situations. And I think it does merit having some discussion with the town engineer and with John to see what we could do, whether it's a temporary measure or, just do it. I know you don't like putting anything down in the winter months because it may interfere with plowing or leaf pickup, but maybe there's something that could be done during the spring and summer months so we can at least start
We can take a look at it.
forcing people to put the brakes on that road.
Rob, where are the school bus stops specifically?
Right now, it's at Deerhaven, the bottom of the hill, Deerhaven and Old Dutch. And then at the top at Deerhaven and Old Dutch, and at the schoolhouse and Old Dutch.
How many kids walk up Old Dutch then from the bottom of Deerhaven?
Well, not kidding, that's one. I think there's another one, June Martha, and I think the others come down.
From the top? Okay, so there is foot traffic on the road then at that point in time, so. I understand his concern.
Yeah, no,
No.
right.
It's,
We all do, yeah.
it's going to be a lot nicer for vehicles to travel. You can actually pass each other with really no issue, but, I mean, it's still a narrow road. It looks wider, but we have not widened that road all that much more than what the were. We just kind of made it better.
We were kind of torn when you said you were going to fix it, and we were like, the potholes are
Right.
keeping people down.
Yeah, so it's 22, fix it or not. But.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Ford, do we have, or if Judy or John has your contact information, perhaps we could schedule a sit-down with you and with
Absolutely.
Paul Ferraro?
Absolutely.
Is that on the petition that you have, that information?
I will put it on there.
Perfect.
All right.
Do we have any other rumble strips or anything else like that in I don't think we do, and I don't think the Hills does either.
Well, I mean, we do
Well,
have
who-
on River Road with the turtle tunnels. I mean, it's
Yeah.
there.
Do you
have any turtles?
Are there any turtles on Old Dutch?
We just have to be concerned about the drainage. We're trying to correct and resolve, so.
No, and in fact, Hills Drive is now removing speed
Right.
bumps, and they're, as Bernie was saying. Anyway, we do appreciate you bringing it to us.
Do I have to drop this off?
Why don't you give that to Ms. Sullivan?
Thank you.
All right. Let's move on to monthly report by our subcommittee chairs, and we will start with Mr. Payne.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to point out that Wednesday night, Guarding Officials Association had a special, Thursday night had a special meeting, and it was specifically geared for municipal officials for active shooter, soft target, and I want to thank Chief for putting us in touch with Dr. Celeste. An excellent presentation. It was, I wish it could have gone on for another hour easily with all the questions, and it was very, very worthwhile. So if any of you ever have an opportunity to hear Dr. Celeste speak, especially on this, which is unfortunately a very timely topic, by all means avail yourself of that. And you know, he went into a history of active shooter and then what you can do or what you should not do if you're faced in that situation. And just for a public service, it's pretty easy. You run, you hide, and fight in that particular order. So very worthwhile. Now, I think, Judy, you said that all the municipal officials at a certain level have to take some type of training?
No, that's another course.
Another course,
Another course.
okay. But it was very worthwhile, and we'll hope to have it again.
Very good. Mr. Jacobs?
Last month's Environmental Commission meeting was canceled. There was supposed to be an Environmental Commission meeting this week. That too was canceled. So that means that the joint meeting with Open Space is now, looks like it will be pushed to September. So we'll see if that stays on schedule. And the only other committee discussion I'd like to update on is on the Fall Fest 5K. We have a breakfast meeting coming up this Thursday.
15.
8:15. John, you're invited. That's it.
All right. Santucci?
As Larry said, we're scheduling a joint meeting. We're also trying to pick a date for our open space tour. So we're still trying to do that. I think people are away for the summer. We, although we had a quorum, we didn't have a whole lot of attendance at our open space meeting. So hopefully people will come back and we'll start working towards some good goals again. I did attend, as did many people in the mayor, the Field of Honor on July 3rd. I know, Judy, it's in your report as well, but I wanted to make mention how special it was and thank the Bedminster Charities participants and thank you and Chief you and everybody who attended. It was a really good time, pretty special, and that's really all I have to say, Mayor.
No, I would echo that. I was over there very briefly, but yes, it was really something special. First annual, and it will only get better as the years go on, we hope, but it was really a first-class effort, and everybody that participated, really, we appreciate.
It was very casual, but
No, it was
at the
fun.
same time, you were able to take the time to kind of go through the flex and read everybody's, what they had written. But everybody just kind of came and
Some people had asked, could we have done stuff for the kids to do, like give little activities? And the response we gave was, really, that's not what this is about. This is about Day of Remembrance and respect. We had some music, had some food, but it wasn't about, inflatables and rides and, all that.
yeah, it really was very actually relaxing and nice and just a fun kind of neighborhood thing to do for everybody.
We had about 300 people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So to the efforts, Robin Ray did a fantastic.
She did a great job.
Mhm.
She did a great job.
You organized so well, and everybody just kind of came together, and it I didn't think I'd be able to go, and when I was able to go, I was really glad that.
I have nothing further to add at this time, so we go to Administrator's Report. Ms. Sullivan.
Again, with the Field of Flags, just real quick, we sold about 140 flags, and we hope it's the first of, just the first annual event. We hope to do it every year. Like to fill that whole field would be good, but we will be starting the project for next year, probably in Fall Fest, September 10th. We'll have a booth to sell flags for next year's event to kind of just keep it all going. So, but Robin Ray did a fabulous job with it as president of Jehovah's Witnesses. So, as we mentioned, the local aid grant freeze is still ongoing. I got another message today from the DOT to say that to keep everything will remain frozen. First they said 7 days, and now it will be until further notice. So we don't know what's going to happen. As the mayor mentioned, we've had a couple of summer downpours over the last month or so, and some of that put some damage into our police station. Police headquarters had some water damage with the roof. John's been over to look at it, and some of it is due to a lot of leaves in the gutters from the tree that's right out front. Maybe you need to mention what it is.
So the roof being what it is, it's a pretty flat roof. We've had, since the building was built, some incidences where the gutters get plugged up, and it's due to debris that gets in there. It's just like your home, and it's a routine maintenance. The problem with that is you have no way of getting to the roof. No ladder to have gets there, so we have to use the aerial truck from the fire company to get to the roof to clean the gutters. So if we do it on an annual or a routine basis, it's once a month, if not twice a month, to do that. The way that the gutter is designed also, it's not like a normal household gutter where it's flat on both sides, the front and the back. On this design, for some reason, the back of the gutter sits lower than the front of the gutter, so that when the gutters do plug up, leaders get plugged up, the water backs into goes in behind the gutter and down inside the wall, hence goes into the building. The last storm 2 weeks ago, we had water throughout the front part of the building, this side of the building, more than on the other side of the building, which would indicate that it's, it was more of a driving force rain also from this side, but it turned out that when we did clean out the gutters, eventually this side was plugged up and that side was not. So, the tree is somewhat of the culprit. My recommendation is to cut the tree down, and I know that many people don't want to cut trees down because we love trees, but does become an issue. The second part of that is going to be to design something so that if there is vegetation that does get in the gutter systems, that there's some place for an alternative for the water to flow, and we're going to design something that will accept that water if that doesn't happen. So it's an ongoing battle back and forth. It's not the roof, it's not leaking. It's more of the design of the gutter and the way it sits in the building.
Well, I say trees grow back, trees be replaced, trees get to a certain height, and sometimes they become unwieldy and they break up pavement and the roots get into things, and you just bring a younger tree.
I protected that tree way back when, about 30 plus years ago. So, I mean, I know what it is, but it's become a menace to plus we also cut limbs back because the squirrels were climbing up and going inside the building also. So, do what we can. We could try a couple different things. We can't put gutter helmet on. We can't put any of those things on here because of the way the gutter is designed. It's not going to be functional. So, my suggestion is removing the tree. But I know that people are not real happy about that. I've had several comments.
Well, I'll do, John. I really think eventually, trees grow back. You can plant another tree.
Correct.
And sometimes you just have to.
Bell, our fire official, who started here back in August 1978, has served us for 38 years, and will be retiring August 1st this year. So we will have a little luncheon for him on the last Thursday of this month, July 28th at noontime. If you'd like to join us, you can. We're currently doing interviews starting tomorrow for replacement. A couple other things. I've invited Mr. Payne to join John Mance and myself to meet with our risk manager for our JIF renewal. It is, we have a 3-year renewal, which will be starting next year, so we'll be going over that at a meeting this Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Anybody else would like to join us? Also got a letter from Chief Rock recommending that probationary officer Chris Kretoff, who we hired around this time last year, be taken off probation, his probationary status. So that will happen as of, did we have a date? Oh, July 1st this year. So he is no longer probationary. So we have another new probationary officer to replace him. And I don't know if you saw it on the patch today, but I'm going to ask the chief to give you an update. Our Bedminster Police Department and our Detective Bureau, in conjunction with Somerset County Prosecutor's Office, caught the burglar who from up on
Union Grove.
Union Grove Road.
Union Grove, yeah.
The chief could give you some details.
So,
Chief, can you tell us?
sorry, back on June 22nd, we experienced 2 residences were victimized by a burglar. They're next door neighbors. One of the doors, an alarm went off, and we went up, but we were originally canceled, so we went up and found forced entry, and the master room was ransacked. We, as patrol was checking that residence and started a search of the nearby residence, we noticed that a residence right next door also was compromised, forced entry. And with that, canvassed it, we made notification, meaning the fact we had 2 crime scenes. Great assistance from the Somerset County Prosecutor's Office. Their crime scene unit came out, as well as members of the burglary task force. And lo and behold, one of the homes had IP cameras in it, and a great picture, clear picture of the actual actor trying to get in a door, and another shot of him. And believe it or not, he was recognized by the burglary task force. So that led, to trying to locate him. We had another witness that had an individual in a black car pulling his driveway and thought it was odd. He was there to fix a computer. So he jotted down a license plate number out of New York. Everything matched up, and that was just a matter of locating Mr. Anthony Troiano, age 42, resident of New York City. And then our detective Polito, as well as the burglary task force, and with the assistance of the NYPD, sat on the house a couple times, no movement, and then he was finally picked up in New York.
So you mentioned the burglary task force. Is that through the county prosecutor's office?
That is as well.
Wow.
We had a crime scene unit come out, and there wasn't any kind of forensic evidence located. So then, the burglary task force, they were the unit that was able to see the photo and say, that's him.
We've got the Burnsville News here. What advice would you give to Bedminster residents that have concern about burglaries in the future? What is some good basic advice you can give?
Even for the cars in the homes, you lock everything. And we consider this the country, but if you leave your car unlocked, somebody's going to enter your car and just take whatever's loose. Your house needs to be secure. Alarm systems are huge, even though we have the alarm ordinance. It helps us help the public by when the alarm goes off, the police are going to come. Even, if you cancel us, we're not going to show up unless it's a panic alarm. And thirdly, cameras, a good quality camera that can be battery operated and actually IP addressed to a computer that's saving it on the hard drive. Get motion censored, and that's what these cameras were. It wasn't a hardwired system.
Wow.
Chief, that they recognized the individual. Is he suspected in other burglaries in the area?
He's been known to burglarize before.
And
Case in point, I didn't have time to pull a report, but in 2012, he struck in Bedminster on Old Dutch Road West.
Huh.
needs a new career.
Or at least in residence for a couple of years. Well, anyway, thank you. Congratulate Detective Lito and the anyone that involved with this. Thank you.
Well, I mean, the county, helped out a lot.
Well, we appreciate their help too.
Great job.
All right. On to other business. We have one ordinance for discussion tonight, and that's ordinance 2016-014. This is an ordinance authorizing the appropriation of $10,000 for capital projects associated with the shared municipal court of Bedminster Township, Peapack, Gladstone Borough, and Bernardsville Borough. This ordinance appropriates $10,000 for improvements in the shared court funded by the three towns. The public hearing for this ordinance is scheduled for, this is an introduction tonight, for August 15th, 7 p.m. in these chambers.
Actually, we did introduce at the last meeting, and due to the holiday, we weren't able to get it in we didn't have a full meeting last time, so we're just carrying this, and it will have the public hearing at our next.
So we're introducing, we're just mentioning it.
Right, it is
Okay.
being, I guess you could say, being carried.
Do you have can you just provide, remind us what, do we have anything specific on the capital improvement plan, John?
So
Or Judy?
This money will be set aside for the court to use for a period of time. It's divided up amongst the three towns based on their court calendar. The court came to John Mance and asked him to install two drop boxes. One would be specific for police officers and larger packages for discovery and the like. That would be for the state police and Bedminster, Peapack, Gladstone, and even our own officers. To put it on the outside, it's on the outside of the building, very secure. And then another one on the front of the building that would be a little bit smaller, that someone just wants to come and pay a ticket, and it's after hours, it's on a weekend, they can drop it in the box, and it's, it's been processed the next morning. So, those were two requests.
We have introduction of ordinances tonight. We do have one public hearing, although that will be at the end after our executive session. Two resolutions for the consent agenda. Resolution 2016-085, approval of general comments and recommendations of the registered municipal accountant for the annual audit for 2015, and Resolution 2016-086, approving the corrective action plan submitted by the CFO for 2015. Any comments or questions on the consent agenda? If not, I'll take a motion.
So, second.
Roll call vote, Mr. Payne?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci? Aye. Mayor Parker?
Aye.
Thank you.
We have four resolutions tonight on their own. Resolution 2016-082, amending Resolution 2016-068, and authorizing individuals to be employed as seasonal employees for the Recreation Department. So it looks like we have some changes to the staffing as the summer's going on.
I think we're adding an additional bus driver
Okay.
and
Substitute bus driver.
and then there was one special aid needed for a special needs campus.
Any comments or questions? If not, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second?
This would also be a roll call vote. Mr. Payne?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci? Aye. Mayor Parker?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution 2016-083, amending 2015-116, authorizing additional monies in the amount of $2,000 to effectuate the intent and purpose of MSSDA. What is MSSDA? That is the Municipal Shared Service Defense Agreement. Sounds like something the Pentagon would do.
If I could maybe ask Mr. Bellardo to give you a little
Sure, that would be helpful.
bit of detail.
I don't know what this is.
No, this was for the additional $2,000 payment for,
Mount Laurel.
yes.
Oh, okay. I'm used to calling it Mount Laurel.
All right.
This is the third payment, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we're up to $1,000. As many of you know, Jeff Serenian and other municipal attorneys are heading the statewide municipal consortium fund, and recently achieved a significant victory with the appellate division ruling that there was no gap period obligation. I've been in touch with Jeff Serenian and John Drill, and I can tell you that Fair Share has filed an emergent application with the New Jersey Supreme Court seeking a review of the appellate division's decision. So whether that will be granted or not by the Supreme Court remains to be seen. But certainly, as you've seen in their email, the $6,000 that we will have contributed toward this fund is probably brought us at least $1 million or more in collective legal fees and saving legal fees, because municipalities throughout the state, and I think there's over 280, have been contributing for a shared approach, so that challenges that have been brought by Fair Share Housing Center, the New Jersey Builders Association, and the various other groups for seeking to overwhelm us can be counteracted. So the third payment, again, not to be confused with the Vicinage 13 municipal group, which is more on the county level. I hope that.
Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Again, roll call vote. Mr. Payne?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Hi.
Mayor Parker?
Go out of order a little bit and go to Resolution 2016-087, authorizing the cancellation of taxes due to a county tax board judgment. And you can see the list of taxpayers and the amounts listed in 2016-087. Any comments or questions? If not, I'll take a motion.
Second.
Roll call vote. Mr. Payne?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Hi.
Mayor Parker?
Aye. Which brings us to Resolution 2016-084, authorizing the CFO to approve payment of bills due to the Township Committee meeting cancellations or a lack of quorum. And the theory behind this is that, especially in the summer months, we might have a little gap between meetings, but the bills have to continue to be paid. I understand the reasoning behind this, but I think it's a much bigger question. Whereas I kind of see an immediate need and an interest in it with the people and players and the calendar that we have now. This is a shift in authority.
We rarely miss, a meeting or have a quorum, I think, but really during the summer, we kind of try to maybe meet in the morning or have us call in. Then if that were to be the case, who would sign the voucher?
So this would not necessarily mean that there would be an approval of all bills, like you have tonight. It would be if we had specific bills that were of a timely nature that had to be paid at a certain time. This isn't giving her full, broad, this is a summary of what it says there.
But I read through the resolution,
Okay.
it isn't very specific, and maybe it shouldn't be very specific, but the advises that failure to pay certain bills result in delinquencies in township accounts. But I mean, again, the people faces right now, I don't have a grave concern for, but I also could see a future township committee and future entities that this could be abused, and that's my concern.
Deb Stern came to me after when we canceled or didn't cancel, but when we made a change for the first July meeting, the first August meeting. I said, we're still going to do a bill list. She said, okay. She said, if the township committee wanted to consider such a resolution, she currently holds this authority in the borough of Far Hills. And she said some towns do this, and she got the sample resolution from the state, wanted you to look at it. If you're not, ready to do that, she's fine. It was just a suggestion from her. It's an option. That's all.
In the 10 years that I've been on the committee, we've always seemed to get the bill vouchers signed and approved in a timely manner. I can't recall one instance where we got a frantic phone call saying, well, we're going to be delinquent, or that something's not going to happen because somebody didn't sign the voucher or approve a bill. And it's not so much our signatures, but don't forget department heads and other people go on vacation too and sign it in counterpart for it to be approved to be paid. So it's not just a lot of people have to, and I think that's probably the minimum effort that we need to do, is to be sure that, that we go over these and we sign them in a timely manner. I think that's part of the job description.
I agree. I think maybe I'm not ready to quite do that yet.
And it was just an idea.
No, I
It is
understand.
something that they do in Far Hills. She gave me the resolution. I said I'll show it to the township committee and see if they'd like to do it here.
I mean, personally, I'm of the opinion that in today's day and age, you can even attend a meeting via cell phone if necessary. So I'm not necessarily inclined to support it either. But I will procedurally bring it up and see if we get a motion, because that's the way we do it. So 2016-084, do I have a motion? None? We'll continue.
And no hard feelings.
And that's all
Totally
right,
fine.
but that's, so. All right, speaking of,
It's available though if we
well, we can always,
If it was a situation, it is an option.
Yep. Approval of the bill list. Can I get a motion to approve the bill list pending the approval of individual invoices?
So moved. Second?
Roll vote, Mr. Payne.
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye. Thank you.
And is someone going to sign this?
Mr. Olson's?
Yeah.
Yep. We'll take care of it. Discussion items, new business, old business. Does anyone have any new business that's not already listed? Old business, Pony Farm. I did have a constituent come to me in the past 2 weeks, mention that there might be a group being formed that is interested in the promotion of rural style and agriculture within the region and is looking for a home. And I encourage that individual to get that group and come to us as soon as possible, yesterday if possible, if they have some interest in the pony farm. So that this does not continue to linger. So we will
had our
see.
open space meeting. Jason Andrus was on the phone. I asked him to go back to the people who were interested before. He said he would, so
Yep.
I'll let you know.
I don't think we've heard anything from this.
Nothing from.
Isn't there,
right?
correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Porto, the tenant would have to be
Yes, sir.
non-profit, correct? In order to,
Yeah, there are limitations within the lease law, so depending upon who the tenant was, that's how it works.
Unless somebody comes forward with actual interest, it's hard to vet them. So we're at least encouraging them to come forward, because I told that individual, the sand is running out on the hourglass, if not already out. Clarence Dillon Public Library, anything new?
I don't have a potential date yet.
All right. Bedminster, Bernie?
Yeah, as you know, I've been knocking on doors along with my wife, and while the local merchants and business owners have been, very enthusiastic about it, it's getting, next step is to get people to actually sign up for it, and it's not an arduous task to do that, but, they're busy, they put it to the side, and they think about it another day. So what I've done is I put together actually a cover letter along with the entire application packet. I'll give one to everybody up here, just to give it a little more official flavor, so when they see this, they will take it a little bit more seriously, and knowing that there are some deadlines, because we wanted to launch this in or around Fall Fest, where we could distribute the cards, the actual property tax cards at Fall Fest, and we need a lead time because PPAC Gladstone Bank, who's going to pay for the production of them, they need a good month to do that. So what I'm going to be doing is going around again to these residents, to the merchants and business owners. If any of you have one particular merchant that you like to frequent, that you'd like to see in the program, just give them this. And what I will do is, rather than just giving it to them, what I've learned and saying, okay, and send it in, I'll say, listen, I'll be back next week to pick up your application. I'll go in, I'll pick it up, I'll deliver it to them, credit, which is down in Marlboro, my office is in Mattawan, so no problem doing that, and we'll do whatever we have to do to get everybody signed up.
The tax bills went out last week, and most
Saw the
people
blur in it. Thank you.
received them maybe Friday, Saturday, and there was a note in there about this program, so.
So, and that's all we have to do, and then we can start giving out the cards, but we got to have the business signed up before the cards are distributed, because people will start wanting to use the cards. And that's it.
Along those lines, the next item, maybe Bernie, you could also help us with here, the discussion of the ordinance change on the rapid. Any of the merchants you talked to were folks that might be affected by this?
The only one that I can think of would be the jeweler.
Okay. And did you get a chance to?
I didn't get a chance to talk to him specifically, but I will be there this week at some point, so going over this again, I'll bring that up.
I would please ask, because certainly the two businesses in town that would be subject to this, I think knowing their opinion on this would at least be good fodder for moving forward on this in whatever direction we go.
Yeah, I'm not sure in that particular case with them, if they deal in like, you know, with people coming in and just randomly and saying, here's a Rolex, how much will you give it for me? I mean, I think it's part of their normal customer base, but I'll find that out.
Well, wouldn't this apply to anyone, right? It wouldn't just be, oh, you're my customer, you don't have to do it. I mean, it's
No,
everyone.
anybody that would come in needs to, you know, they need to play by the rules and be registered in order to, you know, purchase those items.
My point is that I don't think that would be the first place that somebody would necessarily go with a stolen item. That would be that type of jewelry store, because they have a more affluent, upscale clientele. But, you know, I'll inquire with
Well,
them.
we have two.
Right. I'll inquire with them.
Anyway, if you're already talking to them about the Shop Bedminster,
Yeah,
I think it makes
by all means,
another entree into further discussions. So, is there anything else, Chief, on this going on right now?
And as we move along and get the feedback from obviously the stakeholders, you know, then I think with the model ordinance that we do possess, we could, you know, look at it a little bit deeper and, you know, pick and choose who might be inclusive in, you know, the actual ordinance.
Okay.
You know, mess with the model draft.
No, I personally think this is something that's certainly worth continued investigation on, because I do think that the town ought to be doing our part in the greater region as far as kind of keeping, and I think it keeps some bad guys, it deters some bad guys from wanting to be in town.
And if I just may also suggest that, you know, the two residences that were victimized on June 22nd, you know, we didn't recover any of the proceeds. So, you know, maybe if we're up on this system and we could have, you know, on the way back to New York City, if stopped at pawn shops and sold them, and that town was covered under the ordinance, and, you know, we might have been able to get online and search something and possibly something back as well, just to, you know, give them a little bit more closure.
All right. Publicans, we get another bite at the apple here. Does anybody member of the public anything they wish to say? No. All right. None, we'll move to Township Committee comments. Mr. Payne.
Hey, just one thing I wanted to comment on tonight, Mayor, and that's, you know, unfortunately, we have a resident here whose road is partially repaved, and you know, we don't know when it's going to be finally paved. And this is a dilemma that's facing so many of the municipalities right now, where we go to great lengths to try to keep our infrastructure in shape and utilize tax dollars very, very carefully. We need the help from the state, because we certainly could never repave all the roads ourselves unless we wanted to have property taxes, which would just be incorrigible. And I have to just state for the record, I am so disappointed with our legislative and executive leaders in our state that they can't come up with some type of compromise the issues that are facing us rather than holding this transportation trust fund as hostage. And especially with our chief executive, who seems to be spending more time going around shilling for Mr. Trump than maybe sitting down with the legislative heads of our state and coming out with an agreement. So that's my 2 cents on that. Thank you.
Well, I will add that I had a brief meeting Friday morning with one of the members of the governor's staff, the folks that do the outreach, that handle the farming activities in the region. And I will say the first thing that I mentioned to him is we're going to get our road projects turned back on. So he had a good answer for me. He wrote it down, said I'll pass it along, but no, you bring forward a good point. Mr. Jacobs?
Well, what a great event earlier in the meeting. Officer Veltri taking his oath. I think it was all commented. In the current climate of police and community relations, it's good to see that here in Bedminster. Chief, you know that you and the department have the full support, not just of the Township Committee, but of all the residents in town. And it was also very nice to see the police turnout, the 3 sergeants that were here for Officer Veltri. It's just a great sign, and it's always a new career is starting, and just a fantastic opportunity to watch from this side of the dais. So just those are my remarks.
So I'm Officer Veltri at the Field of Honor event for the very first time, and Judy pointed him out, and I went over and said hello. And he really, great representative of Bedminster. Had a wonderful time talking to him, and meeting a lot of the people for the first time. And I agree with what Larry said. It's a really confusing time. I think that's a lot of the comments I've been hearing on the radio, on TV. We're all very supportive, and anything you need, please let us know. And I know you're reaching out and supporting everybody in your community too. It's been other places that it's possible to be right there too.
You just never know.
Yeah.
No, it's a very tough time to be a police officer, and there's pressure. You've got to be good, and you've got to be well trained, and you've got to be well equipped, and you have to have good leadership. And most of that in Bedminster, and certainly the good leadership is sitting in this room with us. So we appreciate you keeping up the good work, and please, we appreciate your men and women keeping up the good work.
Thank you. I'll pass that on.
One thing I did want to mention, the other thing that the thing fellow came down to mention from the governor's office was something that the governor is pushing, one of the things he's still doing within the state, and he is looking for support for the fairness formula, equal school funding and property tax relief. And the theory behind, many were here a couple years ago when State Senator Doherty came into this room to push his fair school funding plan, and it sounds an awful lot like Senator Doherty's plan. So it's very interesting. I would encourage all the members of the Township Committee. I'm looking forward to having a discussion with Board President Casella, School Board President Casella. Currently, I think our school board gets about $600,000 in state aid. I was told by the governor's representative that Bedminster's share would probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of 5.17 million, as opposed to 600,000. I said that sounded pretty good to me.
Under the new formula?
No formula. So you may hear some more rumblings about whether we wish to support something like that or not, so stay tuned. We said that we do have an executive session tonight, and after the executive session, we do have one ordinance that we need to figure out a dollar amount for, or if we do or don't support it. So there will be some action coming out of executive session. If there's no more comments, I'll take a motion to go into exec session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
See you in the back room. right, we have the mics live again, and the official time would be 8:47, and we are out of executive session. And we have one ordinance left on the docket, and it is ordinance 2016-013. It is a bond ordinance appropriating $2 million and authorizing the issuance of $1.9 million bonds or notes of the township for the acquisition of property by the Township of Bedminster, the County of Somerset, New Jersey. Bond ordinance appropriates funding for the purchase of property located at 2080 and 2100 Lamington Road, Bedminster Township, New Jersey. Any comments or questions? Oh, don't we do, yes, can we open the public hearing on ordinance 2016-013?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there any member of the public who wish to comment on 2016-013? Seeing none, any member of the Township Committee wish to comment or question? If not, can I get a motion to close the public hearing on 2016-013?
So moved.
Give a second?
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let's take a motion to adopt ordinance 2016-013.
I'll make sure, Mayor.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night.